In today's session, we will be discussing PTO setup in the Construction Payroll module. Within the application under Construction Payroll, you'll have two menu items, PTO types and PTO accrual schedules. If you go into PTO types, you can create as many different PTO types as you'd like to track and accrue in the system. In this sample, you'll see we have one set up for vacation and one set up for sick. You may have one for personal time, or you may have different types of vacation, maybe one that allows negative balances and one that does not. So you can set these up accordingly. You can click Create New over on the right side here. You can also click in the vacation, the existing one, and you'll notice here our setup. So when you create a new one, you'll have an effective date, a description or an identifier, and you'll also have an option to allow negative balances. So if you want to allow negative balance as far as employees taking more vacation than they have earned, you'll want to check this to yes. You'll click Save, and after you have established your PTO types, you can go over back into the Construction Payroll module, and under PTO accrual schedules, this is where you're going to want to go in and define the hours and the pay types that are affected and accrues for PTO. So if we click on it, you can establish different varieties of your accrual schedule. So in this example here, we have a separate accrual schedule rules for salary employees versus hourly or field employees. So in the hourly, you can set up again by clicking Create New. We'll come over to hourly vacation. And what you can do is, again, in here, you can establish effective date. And this is very handy because if, your parameters change, you can just come into here and duplicate it down and create a new effective date and change the rates inside each of the schedule. With the schedule, you could define it by years of service. You could just have one line if nothing changes. But if there is some accrual rules that change based on years of service, you can click Add here. And for example, if we go into the first year, your beginning year would be 0. You could establish a maximum hours per year. So first year, you're allowed to accrue 40 hours. And then over on the right side here, you could determine in this scenario, they're going to accrue per hour. So you can list which pay type or earnings type gets affected for PTO. So if they work regular, overtime, or double time, they're going to accrue 0.0193 rate per hour worked. So basically this will add up if they worked a standard 52-week, 40 hours a week, comes out with a rate of, it'll get them to 40 hours throughout the year. So you can establish these rates, and then basically it'll accrue it each week. And then once it hits the 40, it'll stop accruing per year at maximum 40. You can also change the rates based on years of service. So beginning year 1, it's basically the same here. But on year 3, we established a new one here by clicking on base year 3. The company upped it to an 80-hour max. In that scenario now, the accrual rate is going to be increased to get them to 80 accordingly, and so forth. And, there's a level here for 10 years plus. In here, you see we've maxed it up to 120 hours after the 10th year and has applied a higher rate. So in that scenario, you would click Save. I'm going to go back, and you can also do it based on an upfront flat amount at the beginning of the year. For example, salary, we have it set up here to say, okay, first 2 years they get 40 hours. It's going to accrue based on the salary pay type, and the amount to accrue per hour is 40. So that's going to give them automatically at the years of service the 40 hours ahead of time, and there isn't going to be a weekly accrual on it. Same thing then as of year 3. We're going to say it's 80 hours after year 3, and again, we're going to front load that 80 hours automatically the first week, and so forth. Then in the employee setup, If I go into employees under construction payroll, inside each employee, you will see where you can come into here and down in the bottom here, under paid time off in the first tab under details, you could assign them as of what date do they start accruing payroll, PTO for payroll. So we'll say 1/1/23. They are going to be eligible for which schedule? In this case, we'll say hourly. And then you would click save. And that's how you can establish PTO accruals in the construction payroll for Intact. Thank you.